guys, welcome back to Rock Talk, where we hang out with some of Lapidary's most influential and creative people. We have tips and tricks and lapidary advice, so grab your notebooks, open up commenting, and let's get to play. We meet here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Be sure to be sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell for your notifications. And each week we do live giveaways. So at the very end of this show, for everyone that comments, you'll be entered in to win. Last week, one of our followers, our subscribers, Bill, he won some amazing items from us. So pretty cool. So before I bring on our co-hosts and guests, drop a comment where you're located. And tonight on the show, we will be bringing up all kinds of things on the screen for you to see. We'll have our banner running across the bottom, and we will also be posting your comments, just like this. Ta-da! Thank you, Big Game Man. And William, Bill, our winner from last week, is back. Awesome. So stick around. We are going to get started. I'm going to bring on our first co-host. Our first co-host is Dave. Dave, welcome. Hi.
Hey, everybody. How's it going tonight? Okay, so you can't answer me back, but it's the formality, right?
Oh, I think they can answer back in the comments. But it's good to see you. Glad to have you. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your charity that you operate? Because we always want to plug up your great charity.
So I operate a charity. If you go on Facebook, we are Rock Tumblers, 2 words, for autism. And so what we do is we raise funds and we give rock tumblers to school-age kids who have autism. And kind of gets them into a little bit of the science, helps them with some communication, different things, and kind of promotes the rock business, right? I mean, people want to go out now and hunt rocks with their kids. Great family tradition.
It is a great family tradition. I think that is the first thing I did with my dad when I started collecting rocks, and we just used an old coffee can tumbler. Pretty cool back in the day.
I can't say I did a lot of rock collecting with my dad. Usually I was throwing them in the place where he was trying to catch the fish. So, there was a little tension there.
Just a little, huh? Okay.
Just a hair.
I'm going to go ahead and bring on Courtney King next. Courtney, hi.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all again.
Hey, Courtney.
How you doing?
Good. Thank you.
I'm good too. Thanks. So Courtney has a lapidary business and she makes and sells cabs. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Courtney?
So it's CNS Services, Cabs and Stones. We have a website and a Facebook page. Links are in the description down at the bottom there if you want to find me and see what I do. But basically I cut cabochons and for jewelry makers. I do a little bit of slabbing, a little bit of rough selling as well because I have way too much inventory. So I like to share that with people. But for the most part, it is just making the cabs. That's what I love to do. It's kind of therapeutic and meditative for me.
Awesome. Awesome. Our next co-host is Ryan Brown. Ryan, welcome aboard.
Hello.
Hey, Ryan. How's it going?
Hi, Ryan.
Oh.
I love your chin wave.
Oh, thank you.
So Ryan I missed it. Dang. Okay. So Ryan, you run a business called Glacier Bros. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Me and my little brother, we do live shows on Facebook and we sell rough and slabs to people all over the world 3 days a week. So.
What 3 days?
So right now we're doing Tuesday through Thursday normally. This week we didn't do one today, but normally it is Tuesday through Thursday.
Okay, great. And we find you where? On Facebook?
On Facebook on Glacier Bros. Yep. You can also find us on TikTok at Glacier Bros and Instagram at Glacier Bros. So.
Don't you have an eBay store too as well, Ryan?
Yep, and we are probably a week out from having a fully done website. So then we will also have that after.
Nice.
That is super exciting.
Yeah, we're
Super-
building stuff.
That's
So that is super great. Sorry to interrupt. I'm just so excited to get started. We have Bart Nielsen here tonight with us, and he is a dichroic glass expert. I think I said that wrong this time. So I'm gonna invite him in and say hi. And
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Bart.
We're going.
Hey, Bart.
It's dichloric glass.
There we go.
dichroic.
Dichroic, yep.
Dichroic.
Okay.
Okay. I've always wondered how to say it too. I keep trying different ways, so now I know.
What does that mean? Dichroic.
Dichroic means something that can change colors. So your tanzanite, the dichroic gem, it'll change colors when you move it. There's a couple others that will change colors when you're looking through it, and when you twist it, it'll change colors. It's the same with the dichroic glass. The dichroic glass has a color, and as you shift it, as this piece is right here. Let's see. As you shift it, it reflects one color. Get this in the center here.
Oh, nice. From
And
purple to clear to blue.
It reflects.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So that's what it does. It's got a microscopic coating of different elements to make different colors, and that's what gives the color change effect with it. It's kind of a fun thing to play with and do.
So, Bart, would that be similar to a Schiller's effect that you see in some things like sunstone, stuff like that, or is it a little different?
It's a little different. It's more of a polarizing effect.
Okay.
With the way the light travels through the matrix or whatever you've got. On a tanzanite or what is it? I think idolite is another one that is a dichroic glass. Or dichroic effect.
So just so our folks at home understand, is it a film on the glass, or does it go all the way through the glass itself?
It is a coating on one side of the glass.
Okay.
And it's the way they make this glass is they put it in I want to say it's like a hyperbaric chamber, but it's a kiln that gets high temperature and high pressure, and then they have a laser that vaporizes particles, and those particles will attach themselves to the glass under high temperature.
Okay.
And that's how they make it.
Wow, that's really interesting.
That's fantastic.
CBS that makes most of the dichroic glass is made by CBS.
So, Bart, you used to do cabbing some time ago.
I still do cabs, yeah.
And so how did you get interested in the dichroic glass?
Well, I've been doing dichroic glass, and I've cabbed obsidian and a bunch of other things, and the glass polishes just like obsidian does. So when you're polishing obsidian, and I started messing around with the glass with some pieces and thought, okay, this is cool. I first seen some dichroic glass sculptures by an artist named Jack Storms.
Yes,
and
he does phenomenal stuff.
He does some phenomenal stuff. And when I seen what he was doing, I had to figure it out. I had to try to do it. And so I dove into trying to find out as much information about doing it as possible.
Okay.
And I found a guy on Instagram. His name is Stephen Kazmarek, and he is called, his Instagram name is the Dichroic Glass Man. And he actually supplied me with my first dichro. That dichro was what we all use for short for dichroic. So he supplied me with dichro, and I just started putting it together and laminating it. And you have to laminate it with well, I started out laminating with UV glue, and then to cure your UV glue, you use your Convoy or I got even a bigger one that's a nice, the tube that I use them to cure the UV glue, and the UV glue, you can actually glue 2 pieces of glass. You got glass, and you sandwich a piece of Dichro in between those 2.
Okay.
And you glue them together, and then you build a block. You keep going until you have a block built, and then you take that block and you cut it all up into different angles and different pieces.
Right.
And that's what you use. And when I started cutting it on angles, and I started cutting slabs with it, I thought, this is really cool. Why not incorporate it into stone? It's like doing intarsia, and so I incorporated that into stone, and that's kind of how I got started. I've been doing cabbing for 4 years now. I got my first cab machine. It got me a Genie, and I started cabbing. I bought the Genie from a friend, and I've always wanted to do lapidary. I've been a rock hound for most of my life, going out and digging. We go out to Topaz Mountain and down to southern Utah digging, down at Yellow Cat, and just a lot of different places that we go out and go rock hounding. And just like I say, I've collected rocks all my life. I don't have a huge amount of rocks, but I've collected interesting rocks that are interesting to me.
Right.
And so after I got this cab machine, back to a little bit. In high school, they offered a class that was a silversmithing class. And in that silversmithing class, I was able to get some basics of cabbing and silversmithing and casting rings and different things like that. So I did get a little bit of silversmithing, and that really sparked my interest about being able to go and do different things. And so the cabbing, I got the machine and started playing with that, and got me a saw. I actually had the first stuff I cut was with a tile saw, and I still cut a majority of my stuff with a tile saw. I've got me a slab saw. I've got a small trim saw, and like I say, still cut a lot of stuff with my tile saw. Another thing with going out and rock hounding, I started going out to went out to the geode beds, dugway geode beds, and would dig geodes, and I'd bring them back and cut the geodes in half, and we had some really nice geodes. And I had one that I posted on my Facebook page, and this was it's been three or 4 years ago, and it's actually been 4 years ago. I posted it on Facebook, and this guy I don't know if it was Rock Hounding Utah. I think it was Rock Hounding Utah that I posted it on. This guy, his name has now become he's now become a really good friend. Is Steve Holmes.
Oh, I love Steve.
Steve's got some awesome agates, and he's awesome. He messaged me and said, that really needs a polish. Bring it up to my place and put a polish on it. So I went up to Steve's shop, and we sat down and we polished that agate. He polished one half, and he says, here, try polishing this other half. And he started polishing. He polishes with his dry sander.
Okay.
Yeah, upside down.
The Robinson,
It's really
Robinson
cool.
Ranch dry sander, and he polishes, and then he finishes the polish with cerium oxide on a bowl wheel. And so after him doing that, and that really sparked my interest about going in and trying to get a cab machine and doing different things. And so that's what I did. I got the cab machine and started going from there. So it's been fun. I learn. I try to learn everything. Every time I do something, I try to learn something, and as I'm doing it.
Right.
I learned stuff from you just now already. So
Thank you.
Right? That's what the show's all about.
So
Well,
Bart,
and I didn't.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I didn't know he was using that Richardson Ranch dry sander to do that. I saw him post some petrified wood in one of the groups I admin today, and they were really phenomenal. I had no clue that's what he was using. I've got one of them. I haven't used it yet.
Everything he
should.
does is with his dry sander. All of his flat surfaces.
Oh wow.
With his dry sander.
Okay.
Person,
And then,
you got a
then
comment.
the last bit is the cerium oxide on the bull wheel.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so what I'd like to do is I would love to show some photos because then maybe you can kind of talk about each one. I already have questions, but maybe we'll do questions towards the end, and we can just learn as much as you can share with us tonight. Yeah. So these are all photos that Courtney gathered from your Facebook page. So we'll start with this one.
That is a piece of Kite with the mixed in with the dichro. And I actually have that piece right here with me.
Wow.
Okay. Let's see if it'll show up on the camera. Can you hold it up and let's see if we can pick it up. So now, since this is glass, I imagine it's very much like polishing obsidian. You know how hard it is to get scratches out of obsidian? Is it just as hard with this glass, or okay?
That's why you get down to cerium oxide in it, and you'll polish with cerium oxide. I'll polish glass and think, oh crap, I've got to go back and hit 2 or 3 steps back, and start it all over again. That happens a lot, and so you'll get scratches, and then sometimes you'll get some contamination on your bowl wheel that will put scratches in, and then
scratches back in.
And
right.
Not just your bowl wheel, but I have a flat lap that with the synthetic pad on it that I mix cerium oxide on, and that's another thing. Like say, you'll get contamination. You might get a diamond chip or something off of one of the other wheels, and you get contamination, and it's frustrating to do that.
So my question to you is, what do you do to look at your stone? Do you just dry it off and look at it with a loupe, or
most of the time
do?
I actually have the visor with the magnifying glasses.
Yeah, we know someone that has one of those.
These here.
Okay.
Yeah, always one I need to get back there to them.
Can I see what can I see what it looks like on?
Yeah. Just like that.
And then you just look down through it. So it's like a visor, like on a hat. Okay.
Right.
Makes your eyes look funny. I love it.
Well, and on top of that, I've got one of these magnifying glasses over here that has the light, so you can do the same thing, so you can get it where you want it.
I have
Oh, that sounds really smart.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I've got one of those. Yeah. A little teeny one. I have a little teeny baby one.
Okay,
So Bart,
that
is
is
that a
all
lot?
great tips.
What's that?
You can get them just at the craft store, Kirsten.
Do you have the
They're
same?
They're not stupid expensive. The small ones are fairly reasonable. Go
I can
ahead,
see
Dave.
things.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, a little lag on this end, so sometimes it overrides. Bart, I'm just wondering if, with like the obsidian, oftentimes you get in there when you dry it, you can't actually see those scratches until you get to a higher polish. Is it kind of the same way with this?
Exactly. Okay. Yep, it is 100%. You can't see those scratches until you get down to your cerium oxide and think, "Oh man,
right.
I gotta go back." And you can try to polish it out with the cerium, but you'll spend a lot more time trying to polish that out with the cerium as opposed to going back the steps that you need to get it polished.
Right. What was your
Now-
question, Lorraine?
Oh no, I'm good. Keep going.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, when you are stacking your plates of glass together, you polish them first, right? You're not just like cutting and gluing, right? You're going up to how high?
I started out with this is what's called the first pieces I did were with window glass. You can go down and a lot of places you can actually go through their dumpster, a lot of glass shops, and you can get their window glass, and you can use that window glass to make it. And then you get pieces of that, you cut it, whatever shapes you are to build the block, and then you, like you say, you sandwich in dichro that gives you that color.
Wow.
And the more, like I say, the colors that change with it, you can, like I say, the colors you change, you sandwich it, build it up, and you build multiple layers.
So it really is, you're like doing a dagwood sandwich, right?
Ah, okay.
Multiple layers that are just done up, and then as you turn it, you see the dichro.
Yes. Okay.
I love it.
It is so fascinating.
It is.
It is, and it's, like I say, it's a lot of fun to mess with, play with, and do stuff with.
The illusion it creates is awesome. It really is.
So you said that when you go in and you cut your glass at an angle, is there a preferred angle that you use? Kind of like how tiger stone is a preferred
angle. I've been
angle.
Experimenting with it, and I'm finding anywhere between 15 degrees and 45 degrees is the best.
Well, that's a fairly good range, yeah.
Yep. So I've actually just made me some wooden blocks that I can cut, and I'm making blocks now that are like this big out of glass.
Wow.
And then I'm going in and cutting it a bunch, and I've made me a block that I can set my piece up and tilt it and go through my saw and make cuts off at that 15 degrees, and then all those cuts I do, they have to be polished. So when I do those cuts, those surfaces, they have to be polished so I can add more glass in between those cuts, and more glass and more dichro in between those cuts to give the separation of the dichro. And when you get that separation, it starts bouncing the light around inside of the glass. That's the effect. And I spend a lot of time when I'm gluing up glass on thinking about the light going into that piece of glass. And the thing about it is going into the glass, and if you do it with stone, like here's a piece of turquoise.
Oh, cool.
He said my word.
It has the turquoise in it. I've got several of them. Here's another piece. This is a piece of Bisbee turquoise in quartz.
Nice.
Okay. And so when you set it in stone, you've got to think about how that light won't reflect off that stone. So the light coming in is going to hit that stone. And so I put some pieces of mirror dichro. So this is a piece of mirror dichro. You can see it's dark green, but it reflects.
Right. Wow. And it's got that mirror effect. That's
like
cool.
Dark green when you see it through it.
Right.
And so I glue those pieces up against the stone. So that's going to make the light go in and bounce that and come back. And so you're bouncing the light off that edge of the stone. Sometimes you want the effect of, you want to be able to see the stone. And so on my turquoise pieces, I don't do that. I like to see the turquoise inside of the stone. So, and that turquoise will then also reflect on the dichro edges that you have inside of your glass. And so it gives a really cool effect to making the whole piece look really cool.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So we do have a question from Bill here. He says, how do you cut the glass without it shattering and cracking? And also, my question is, do you have a preferred blade that you use?
A preferred blade for cutting the block? I use the, what is it? The same company that makes the agate eater blade.
Highland Park.
Not Highland Park.
Oh, Diamond Pacific?
It's not Diamond Pacific either. It's
Covington? Let's just throw out.
It's not Covington. It's MK.
I was going to say MK is the only one left, right?
MK makes the blades, and they make tile blades, and they make a glass blade. And I use that glass blade on cutting rock and different things too. But I also have an agate eater blade that if I'm cutting agates, I'll switch it up and change it to that. But MK glass blade is what I use on my. I got a 10-inch tile saw.
Can I ask what the difference is between that glass the glass cutting blade and an opal blade, are they both like thin? I mean, I know with an opal blade that you cannot touch the blade while it's cutting because you'll slice your finger as opposed to most other blades.
It's not as thin a blade as I've got. Like on my trim saw, I've got some really thin blades that if I'm cutting a stone that I don't want to lose very much stone, which I do a lot. I don't like to, I'm a person that hates to grind away a stone. I mean, I try to keep it as natural, as shape as possible. In fact, so I start off with taking a piece of rough stone, and I take all the rough edges off, and then I look at that piece and say, okay, how can I utilize this piece that I'm making into something that's natural shape and everything. I don't use stencils. I sometimes will use a stencil if I need something perfectly round or something like that, but I try to steer away from using stencils when I'm doing stuff.
So you like to freeform?
Freeform, yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to show...
There was also a question about cutting. Just a standard glass cutter that I use to cut, and then to score your glass is these glass scorers, and they just they score your glass. Once you score it, you just there's a name for these, and I can't remember the name right now, but there's a name for them, and you take that and you score them, and that breaks your glass. And I also have a cutting station that is designed for got squares and stuff in it that you can cut your glass on angles and different things, and it's a thing that I use. I'm actually sitting where I do all my gluing together in my home, and then my lapidary, my equipment up in a shop that's about 100 feet away from my home, up in shop. So I have to, and it's cold in there, and it's cold. It's cool and nice in the summer, but it's cold in the winter.
I get that. I promise you.
I'm running 2 heaters out here now.
Yeah.
It gets so cold here, I got to run propane out in my garage just to keep it.
That's why I got mine in my basement. I can't do that cold.
And I don't have water, so I have to carry my water up there.
Right.
And then I actually, to warm my water, I actually use an aquarium heater that I put right into the bucket, and that warms my water for me.
That's what we were talking about last week. Nice.
Yes.
Did we have any more pictures of stuff that?
We do have pictures, and I was going through them, but I kind of wanted to just like answer questions as we go along. I think it's kind of nice, but this next one really, it's incredible.
Isn't that cool?
Oh my gosh, I love that.
If you look at that bottom of that stone, or that bottom of the glass down in there, it's actually reflecting off the stone that it's glued to.
Right.
That's one of the effects that you get out of that piece. And that's another piece of Shattuckite. I'm kind of a fan of blue, so in fact, that's my favorite. I'm a blue guy. So I like Shattuckite, I like turquoise, I like Dichroic, I anything blue, translucent stones, chrysoprase, just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking through all the photos that Courtney grabbed for us, and they are all blue.
Yeah.
That is amazing with
Isn't that neat?
on there. It looks so classy.
That's just a piece of glass, dichroic glass, and that's cut and carved, kind of in a natural shape. So.
How many stacks are in that one?
That one's probably got 10 stacks in the block. When I glue a block up, it's got 10 different layers. And then I glue that block and I cut it and throw more into it. And the more I cut it, the more lines you get out of it.
Okay.
I can't tell, Bart. The pieces that you make here, are these domed like a traditional cab, or are these flat?
That piece that's right there on that one's actually kind of
wavy.
That piece is right here, so I can do.
I can't see it. He's trying to show it, I think.
Sorry, I'm.
There it goes.
So I have a hard time getting that. So it's not domed.
Yeah, but it's not flat either.
It's multi-angled. That's great.
Okay. Yeah. I see. Yeah.
So it curves off this edge here, and
Right.
and curves off on different sides, some flats and some curves. I kind of like to when I'm doing a piece, I kind of like to incorporate flats and curves in my work.
Does that give you more reflection, more bouncy, more?
Yes.
As far as the colors go.
When you bend the glass, or when you do a curve and the mirrors are inside, it reacts different it doesn't work. The light going in and bouncing back doesn't reflect off of the glass itself. So if you've got a flat surface on glass on the outside, the light will go into that stone. It will reflect, and it will be a mirror on the opposite side that it will bounce back. So it's kind of like a prism, a big prism effect.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay.
It's kind of hard to explain, but you almost have to put a block together and cut it to see what actually happens. Because a straight block doesn't look too cool. I mean, you have one end of the block that will look just like that, and then another end of the block, it looks just like layers of glass that are glued together. And you don't see that color coming out until you cut that block on 45 degree angles or less.
Right.
It reminds me of lattice sunstone from Australia.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's very cool stuff. So this is the one that was used on the cover.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
More shadowkite, right?
It's more shadowkite, yep.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's the one that gets me every time.
That's synthetic opal. That piece, a guy in Germany messaged me. He's synthetic opal or Aurora opal on let's see, he's Aurora opal on his Etsy, and he's synthetic opal on Instagram. And he messaged me and says, "Hey, how about I send you a block if you can send me back a cab, some cabs of what you make." And I said, "Sure, I could do that." And he sent me a piece of this synthetic opal that's probably 6 inches by 6 inches square and a half-inch thick. And to make that piece and actually several other pieces to make out of that, I only took a thin slice off of that, and then I sandwiched that piece into glass. This is another piece that I haven't posted yet of that same synthetic opal.
Oh, nice.
Let me see if I can get it closer.
There. Oh yeah, that's good.
Wow.
Now we can see it. Yeah, that's great.
And what's on the ends?
That is synthetic. Not synthetic. It's actually Recon Sugilite. They got that.
Oh, it almost looks blue.
It looks blue, but it's purple.
It's the purple, yeah.
And it is the best. You can't tell off the screen, but it's got a luminescence in that purple, the shimmer in that purple. It's just incredible.
Well,
it's my favorite stone on the planet.
Yeah.
Sugilite. Oh my Lord.
Dave and I both have some of the Recon Sugilite hanging around our houses.
Yeah,
what I like about that one you just showed, Bart, is the way you were moving it there and that shimmer you're talking about. It made it look like in hydro. I thought there was water in there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. That's amazing. Wow.
That's beautiful.
Very talented.
So I have a question. When you are cutting the stone and using Hextall, like I know when I use it for gem-bone, that I have a really hard time getting all of that oil out, and it ends up bubbling with the Hextall. Do you have any tips or tricks on getting the oil out of the stones that you use?
It's hard with the stones that I've cut with my slab saw. The oil, I have to really, really, really scrub them and clean them good with Dawn dish soap, and because I've had the laminations between the stone and the glass won't hold, and so and that's because there was oil in the stone. Most of the stuff I cut is either been treated, been what do they call it? Stabilized under pressure and using the cactus juice. So I use that happens on a lot of the stones, but some of it's natural stones that I just get chunks of, and I'll go through with my tile saw and cut them water-wise, and I actually have to dry that stone pretty good before I start gluing it. I mean, I'll put that stone. I have a DOP wax melter that for melting DOPs. I never use it, but it's a great place for me to put my stone on and let it get hot and dry that.
To dry it out.
For sure.
Right.
It'll suck all that moisture out of it.
That's something I do with that. I never, like I say, I never use the wax. Everything that I do is freehand. I'll holding on to it with my hands. I can't.
I feel the same way.
You're very tactile.
I was just telling them that I can't do it. They all DOP and I don't. I do everything with my hands.
Yeah.
That's all well and good until you get hard as nail in your eyes. You had to be here for that one, Bart.
Yeah.
Oh my. So Bart, this group, we're primarily for getting new people into the hobby and beginners, and you used a term that I don't think that a lot of our followers would know. What is cactus juice?
Cactus juice is a resin that you can do it two ways. You can put it in there it is right there. You can put it in a pressure vessel and pull a vacuum on that with your stones in that pressure vessel, and you leave it in there. I leave mine in the cactus juice when I'm doing. I leave it in sometimes 3 days under a vacuum, and that just lets it get into it really deep into the stone. And then you have to let it sit for a couple, 2 or 3 days. Then you take them stones out, and you have to put them in like a little toaster oven.
Bake them.
And bake them at 220 degrees for at least 2 hours or a little longer. Sometimes I let them go 4 or 5 hours, depending on how big the stone is. But you bake them, and that sets the cactus juice. That makes the cactus juice harden it's a resin, and that makes the cactus juice harden. Cactus juice was started out being used in stabilizing
Woodworking for pins.
Yeah, and they pressure treat wood and put dyes in it, and that dyes goes into the wood. So if you ever see dyed wood, like pens and different things like that, it usually has been stabilized with cactus juice.
Interesting.
Well, and if you guys remember that first show that we did, I had that old toaster oven that we were showing through all of the equipment that everybody their stuff. And that's what I use that for. That same thing is what I got that for, is baking some of the dino bone or some of the porous material. You bake it for sometimes 8 hours until it quits smoking to get all that oil out, and then you use it to bake the cactus juice with.
Yep.
Oh, that was going to be my next thing. I was going to say, well, you don't use your household kitchen stove for that, right?
Go to the thrift store and find a used toaster oven to something like that.
Absolutely.
And do it outside.
Yeah.
Outside, yeah.
If you can.
I mean, I
Smart.
would think,
I do it
since
in my
Dave
shop.
said, wait till it stops smoking,
I don't get very much smoke. I get a little bit of smell,
Okay.
but I get a
Dave
little bit.
gets a lot of smoke, apparently.
Yeah. Are you baking the oils out of yours in the oven, or just doing the cactus juice?
I'm baking just the cactus juice.
Okay, yeah. When you bake those oils out, you will get a lot of smoke because it's kind of burning the oils out of the pores.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
I haven't thought of doing that, but I do.
Mark Anderson has some great videos on that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gorgeous.
Isn't that amazing?
That is a pendant. It's kind of funny that piece I did that pendant piece, and then behind it is a piece of shadowkite that is also glued to a dichroic block. And that pendant actually sits and rests in that piece that's sitting behind it. It's kind of an idea that I had. And then you can also set a wedding ring on top of that pendant, or on top of that setting to hold your rings and stuff like that.
Okay. So I have a question. When you are drilling your holes,
Right.
do you just do? How do you do that? Just with a Dremel
Well, I have a
and
Fordham.
diamond bits, or what do you do? How do you drill the holes?
I have a Fordham, and I used to, and I use the Fordham a lot. I also do carvings too, and I have a Fordham, and I used to just hold the handheld piece, and I have water drip onto my piece, and I just drill and work it back and forth, and drill that piece through the glass or the stone. I have now got myself I was at Tucson last year, and I bought me a little Fordham tool holder that holds your tool in a vise, in a like a drill press. So it holds your tool, and that way I can sit, and I've got my flex shaft hooked up to a little bench lathe. I got that flex shaft hooked up to it, and so I can take the piece and just sit and work it. It's a lot easier to hold that piece with two hands as opposed to holding it with one hand. And then I just work a small as I can get diamond bit through, and then I slowly enlarge the bits with different sizes. When I'm drilling pendants, I try to get like 10 or 15 of them ready to drill at one time, so I'm not changing the bits a whole bunch of times. I'm just taking and I'll do a whole bunch, get them, and then change my bit, and then go up, ream the hole out a little bit bigger, and then the last step is to ream it with the finest diamond bit that I got, which is the 600. And then you can leave it at that point. If it's stone, you can leave it at that point, but I don't. I go and I polish the inside of the holes. And that's the hard part.
I was going to say, I bet that is time consuming.
That's time consuming.
How do you do that? How do you polish the inside of the hole?
I started out using felt paper or felt tips that would go in, and I'd use them, and they'd break off, and I'd have to get new ones, and I'd have to shape them down. I'd take and grind them and shape them down to where they fit in the hole. Right. And that was a pain in the butt, just trying to do that. And then what I do is I use mountain mist polish. It's the same polish that a lot of people use when they're polishing fire agate. Grinding and polishing fire agate. It's mountain mist. It's in various grits all the way up to 50,000, and I just go through each grit, like five grits, and just what I've done now is I use a wooden Q-tip, and I break it, so I got two of them, and I can put that Q-tip in my hand chuck on my Fordham, and I can then run that piece. I dip it into my grit and run that piece back and forth in the hole, and then finally go get bigger and bigger as I go, and that's how I polish them. And
very cool.
It makes a huge difference when you've got glass and you can see through the glass and see the polish.
Yeah,
right.
It makes a big difference. There's Jack Storms I was talking about. He started doing this jewelry too, these pieces, and he was doing big sculptures.
He does crazy stuff.
He was doing some big sculptures, and he started doing pendants and rings and different things like that just recently. Yeah. I've been doing the pendants and stuff like that for about 2 years now, but his pieces will sell for $1,200 to $1,600 for his Dichroic pieces. For a Dichroic pendant.
For a pendant, his stuff is stupid, ridiculous expensive.
Look at his stuff really closely, and he doesn't polish the inside of the hole of them. So
I don't think I know anybody that polishes the inside of the hole, so I think that's super cool.
I think that's a you thing, and I think it's going to be a some of us thing when we try it out.
Yeah.
It sounds
for
like
all
a
of the
challenge.
folks out there, that is cabbing. I mean, it's a very unique, very individualized within the parameters of what makes a cabochon.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I played with silver a little bit, and I wanted to make my pieces, that I could make them wearable, and so that's why I started drilling holes in them, and that just is my signature. I guess I'm doing stuff like that.
It sets you apart a little bit.
Yeah, I saw an egg you did one time, and it blew my mind.
Well, I don't have the eggs here, but here's a piece I posted just not too long ago. And that's just window glass. That's a piece of broken window. And you can see I've glued 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of glass. And then I've got 2 pieces of mirror dichro glued on each end. And this is the rock that we drive up on the mountain, Bountiful Peak here in Bountiful. Just go up on the mountain and took my ATV up there and picked up a piece of rock off the road. This is a piece of granite, kind of salt and pepper granite. And I just ground it to the shape, then I cut it, and then I glued the glass into it.
Right.
And then I go back and I grind and polish the whole thing, grind it smooth on each all the surfaces. And you can see that this is not any particular shape. Let's get this over here. It's not any particular shape.
Right.
I like that it's not.
Yeah.
But it sits. I mean, it can sit on a.
I remember when you posted that, and I thought that was really neat that you just went and got a road rock and made something cool with it.
And then this is we went to the Redwoods, and this is out of the Smith River up in Crescent City, Oregon.
I know where that is.
And I just took and cut. I polished the rock. I picked up, this is a river stone. I wish I'd picked up a whole bunch more. I just took that piece and I cut it, just rounded it off in places, and then I cut it. You can see I've cut that rock into. First thing I did is I cut it on this angle here, coming across. Cut it, and then I shaped it, and then I come in and I cut it on this angle here, and then I glue the glass in it, and then I go back into cutting and redoing it. It makes a really cool effect on the rock.
Yeah, it does.
I have a 10-ounce Lake Superior agate that would look crazy like that.
It's any type of stone that you could do would just be really cool with it.
I love that. I want to show this next picture. This will be the last one, but could you tell us, is this the same stone, the same granite?
That is a piece of, I don't have that piece here with me. It's actually up in my shop waiting to be drilled. I got to drill that with a few others, but that is a piece of black onyx that I put in there and glued up. This is actually, I've got actually another piece of that I was going to glue together with the black onyx. So this is black onyx right here. And you can see I've got glass glued to it. And this is not polished, but I've got another piece of glass that I'm going to probably take and I'm going to glue the two together.
Well, now, Bart, that brings up a question. I don't cab glass, and part of that is because I took stained glass a long time ago. My wife and I worked with it, and I find that stone is a lot more forgiving than what glass is. So you've married the two of them there together. How difficult is that to work with? I mean, one's harder than the other. You've got undercutting. You have all kinds of scenarios.
Most of the time, your stones are pretty close to the same partner as the glass. Sometimes you use softer stones, and you've got to be really careful, especially when you're doing the cerium, about putting too much pressure on the stone itself, because you still have to polish the glass with the cerium, and sometimes stone don't like cerium. So so you got to be really careful about where and the bowl wheel comes in really handy with the curved edge of the bowl wheel, that you can take that stone and kind of focus where you're polishing that glass and not the stone. And you'll take it, wipe it off, and look at it, and if it's not enough, you just work it a little bit more back and forth until that you get that polish that you want out of the glass. And usually you've already got the stone to where it's at. If you're doing stone and glass together, lost train of thought. But if you got stone and glass together, I'll finish off the stone like with a piece of turquoise. Then I'd use the ZAM on a buffing wheel.
ZAM, I love ZAM.
I do have one more request to show another pendant that you did. Could you tell us about this one?
I love
that
wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Metal Web Turquoise.
What?
So, and that's a piece like that. Here it is right here. And it's backed with glass. So I've started backing my pieces with glass.
Really?
It really gives a neat effect to, I get this. So that's the
very
glass
cool.
side. That's the glass side. That's the stone side.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
I might need one of them.
Right?
I was just thinking
Here's a
too.
piece of lapis. It's also backed with glass. So you can see the
Wow.
backing of the glass.
That's great.
Right. That is a really neat effect.
So it really does gives you. I mean, it looks a lot better in my hand holding it here than on the screen, but it just really gives a neat effect. I mean, you can back it with glass on any stone. If you got a flat surface on the stone, and you take a piece of just normal glass, and you glue that to the stone as a
Right.
backing.
Right.
I hate to see backings on stones that you can't see the stone.
Right.
I'll put something
Right.
clear on it so you can see it.
Right.
Oh, the ship.
Right.
Yeah, that was crazy, Bart. The ship was crazy.
Well, Bart, my wife is not going to be happy with you because I'm sitting here contemplating a whole new line of bolo ties that are going to be hanging around everywhere.
There you go.
I actually have a bolo tie made that I gave to my father-in-law. I don't have it here. He obviously has it up in Oregon, but it was a nice piece that I did, and I actually did that piece with the Kite and a piece of chrysoprase, with a line of chrysoprase going through the middle of it.
Nice.
Bolo tie.
What part of Oregon is he from, Bart?
Klamath Falls.
Klamath Falls. Well, I'm about 155 miles from him. I'm just outside Salem, so
Oh.
lived outside K Falls, know where it's at.
We're coming up to Klamath Falls for Thanksgiving this year, so
There you go. And
Bring change.
yeah, bring a coat. And
Right.
we were
Right.
there 2 years ago for Thanksgiving, and it was cold and snowy.
And Kirsten, how far away did you say he is from you? Not far at all, right?
Oh, no,
About
not
20
far
miles.
at all. Just up the
Ogden
road
and
in
Bountiful,
Ogden.
about
So
20
it's
miles
about
apart.
half an hour.
Okay.
Oh, so Bart, you're another one that lives just down the road from my daughter and my grandkids. And Kirsten, went to see Kirsten last summer and got to see them all kind of in the same trip there. And they're just a couple of miles from each other.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm in Bountiful, which is it's north. It's right next to Salt Lake City,
Right.
and between Ogden and Salt Lake. So
Yeah, I got a ticket there driving truck.
yeah,
I just want to go bear sight hunting, guys. That's all I want to do.
Did
go
you
go
say
to Snowville.
Tree
bear
hunting.
sight hunting? Okay.
Bear sight. That would be so fun to go bear sight
Oh,
hunting.
bear
Oh,
sight.
Dichroic.
That's up in Tremonton, which is
Tremont,
like
right.
another hour north of me. So
That
I think the Dichroic comes out of that same mine right there, doesn't it?
I think it does too. Yeah, from the
Yeah.
Snowville.
I have a couple of small pieces of that.
Yeah.
Very cool. What you got, Kirsten? I see you playing.
oh yeah, I was just fiddling around with the giveaway for tonight.
Oh,
Yeah, Bart, we always do a giveaway. We have an awesome group of people commenting tonight, and I think they're going to be really happy. I just want to take a second and show you guys what you could be getting. So tonight we have a iris agate. We have a piece of dinosaur gembone. We have a piece of Tiffany. And we have a little sphere and a Unikite necklace. And so these items will be shipped out. We have to have one of you guys pick the number tonight. So we're going to go with a number between 1 and 7. Who's choosing it tonight?
I think we should let Bart do it.
yeah, I
Bart.
think so too.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I will go with. Have we picked numbers yet?
Number 1 through
No.
7. I got them right now.
Have people picked their numbers yet?
Oh no, she writes the
I have it.
names down
Okay.
on a list,
I'm gonna
and
say
then
number 7.
Number 7,
Number 7.
that is Julie Ship.
nice, Julie.
Julie, congratulations. So you can contact me through my Facebook, or you can contact me through email. I am rockinraccoon777@gmail.com. Anyone else that wants to contact me, that's fine too. So Bart, I just want to thank you so very much for coming on. I learned an incredible amount from
Absolutely.
you.
If anybody wants to see my stuff, I posted on my Instagram. All my pieces that I do are on Instagram, and my Instagram account is BNINUTS.
And your
People
information
wonder
is in the
what's that
description.
Huh?
Your information is in the description, so
Yeah.
all they have to do is click on that, and it'll be a link right to your Instagram.
I have a question. Have you used labradorite? Does it make a difference if you put labradorite on the far side of the dichroic? If you can get the flash to match?
I think it would be cool if you could get the labradorite. It depends on how thick the glass is, but you could probably get it to take that color and reflect back onto the glass and back out.
Yeah.
It would probably be a cool piece to do.
I want to see you do it
You've
with
got some
purple.
bright labradorites, and if the labradorite is sometimes, depending on where you turn that labradorite.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's hard to say what'll happen. I mean, but it would be a fun experiment.
I would love to see
That's
it.
what I do is I experiment on a lot of stuff. So the stuff I post is a lot of stuff that I think is something that worked.
Right.
But the stuff, I got a lot of stuff that didn't work too. So
We all have that stuff.
Best way to learn is to screw it up, right?
You got
Yes.
a box full of cabs that are unfinished.
Right.
I'm thinking, this is not.
I was going to say my box of screw ups is bigger than my box of successes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Exactly.
It used to be. I don't know. You and Dave could get together and make some crazy pop sockets for autism.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I was just going to show him what I do here.
Was that Hell's Canyon?
That Hell's Canyon.
No, this is actually a piece of the golden sycamore from right over here in Sweet Home at the Hollywood Ranch.
Oh,
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Kind of similar to Hell's Canyon.
It does. That's what I
Yeah,
said
it does
too. Hell's
very
Canyon.
much so.
Right?
Yeah.
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 It is very similar.
Yep. Cool.
I'm thinking some of these with what you're doing, make them a little thinner, back them with some of that glass. Pop socket needs to be a little lighter, so I put a really shallow dome on them, but I think that would look phenomenal.
The pieces that I do have to be a little bit thicker just to get the effect with the glass. So my pieces are a little bit more than a 1/4 inch thick, probably 3/8 of an inch to about 3/8 of an inch thick and bigger and thicker. Some of them are thicker than that, but I try to make the pieces a little thicker because you get more effect of the glass that way.
Okay.
Okay. Well, guys, it
What
is
you
a
trying
little
to
bit
say?
after 10, so it's probably, let's do whatever we want to do to wrap up. And yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being here, Bart. We appreciate you so much.
It was
Thank you.
awesome. Love your work.
Fun.
Yeah.
Enjoyed
So,
it.
any last comments from everyone? I'll let Bart go first.
Just I want to tell people that enjoy the hobby. I mean,
Right.
It's still a hobby for me. I mean, I'm an excavation contractor by trade, and so I work during the day digging holes and stuff like that. And but when I get time to do lapidary, that's my release. That's where I find the relaxing. I can just sit in my shop and listen to music as I'm cutting and just have a great time doing it.
There you
Do
go.
what you love what you do.
Yep.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
So,
Very
I love
nice.
that. Thank you, Bart. Thank you.
you're welcome. Yep.
Okay, Ryan, go ahead.
I'm gonna say the same thing that I do every week. Just find the part of the hobby that you love and stick with it. Try everything though. Try everything. I know that we're always reaching out to new people about lapidary. Try all sorts of lapidary. There's so
Right.
many angles to this. There's so many angles to it. So, I don't know. Just enjoy yourself and have fun, and I'll see you next week.
I love it.
The chin wave, I love it.
All right, Miss Courtney.
So same thing. Enjoy it. Find your niche. Try everything. Don't be afraid to fail. Because like we just talked about, that's where you learn. You learn from your screw ups. You learn, I was in my scrap pile the other day and found something and I literally said, oh my God, why is this in my scrap pile? Because now I've learned some other things. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to do that. But just, enjoy it. Enjoy it.
I love it. Yeah.
And like Ryan said, we'll see y'all next week. Much love. Thank you for showing up, everybody. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Courtney. All right, Dave.
All right. I can't hardly hear you because my hearing aids just gave up the ghost and the Bluetooth disconnected. But I hear a little bit. I kind of want to say what everyone else did. Go after this for the relaxation. Go after it for the fun. Don't make it work. Just go out and enjoy it. I actually went so far as to put a TV out here in my shop. If I want to, I can get on the laptop. I can pull up a million videos on YouTube on how to cab at least a million different kinds of material, different information on anything you can think of. And so just go after it. Don't be afraid. I have zero talent, and yet I'm making some pretty nice looking cabs anymore. And
Yes,
it
you
just
are.
takes time, and just go enjoy it. Just have fun.
All right. Thank you, Dave. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us this week. We will be back next week with a special guest from Highland Park, and I'm excited to see what they have to say. And everybody, thank you, and we'll see you next week.